Shalom, shalom. This is the brother Hamayan coming to you from the Richmond camp here in Virginia. Wanted to present another lesson. But first and foremost, I want to acknowledge my power and give all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Next, double honors to the head apostles / elder bishops of Great Millstone, who teach 100% according to the Bible. Peace, blessings, and safety to the hopeful elect, to the Archangel who continue to push this truth throughout the four corners of the earth. I want to say shalom. I want to also acknowledge my Richmond brothers, my elders, Elder Mattathiah, Elder Karab, the brother Ra, for continuing to push this truth and teaching me the 100% truth according to this Bible. Say shalom. Okay, just wanted to get into a lesson today titled A Renewed Mind Must Be Priority as This American Society Collapses. And so right now we're seeing that the collapse of America in real time. We're seeing that the MOTB is being implemented. We see data centers being created worldwide. So, this devil is forcing his hand upon the inhabitants of the earth, and it's going to be making it mandatory here soon to take this digital device, this chip. And so they'll be, his goal is to have complete and complete control of all humanity. And so I just wanted to go into and start with the book of Romans, chapter 12 and verse 2. And so we'll look into that here. It's the book of Romans, chapter 12 and verse 2 in the KJV, and it says, "And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahweh." This is going to be the book of Romans, chapter 12, verses 2 in the NLT. It says, "Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let Yahweh transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know Yahweh's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect." And that's right. He wants us not to be conformed to this world. And so many of our people, of Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, are conformed to this world. As an example, if you have a Jake woman who wears blonde hair or pink hair or blue hair, particularly that blonde hair represents Esau Edom, the woman, our oppressor. And so, she's actually bringing a mindset of captivity when she wears that hairstyle, because she's acknowledging and she's acknowledging her enemy, her oppressor. It could be a brother who has a mentality of wanting to represent Esau in the military. And so, you're going all out for America, understanding and knowing, or not knowing, that this is your current captivity, and that you're only going to make, yourself a sacrifice for your enemy. So just kind of coming out of that type of mindset and not conforming to that, not conforming to the ways of fast cash and selling drugs or selling illegal firearms, but bringing in that mindset of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai, conforming to his divine order in terms of your mind. I want to also look at the book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 2. The book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 2, and it says, "Set your affections on things above, not on things of the earth." That's the KJV version. The NLT version of Colossians 3 and 2 says, "Think about the things of heaven, not the things of earth." So again, we want to have a mindset that's not, trapped in the lust of this world, of having to have gain, trying to gain things like a mansion, or trying to gain, an absorbent amount of wealth, here on this earth, but to have our mindset more in a heavenly manner, on things that are heavenly, having new bodies, for example, having a mindset that's of peace and of love for your brother. That those things aren't really abound at this moment here on the earth. You're not really having that type of mindset. But to have setting your mental on heavenly things, on heavenly platform. I want to also turn to the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 5. It says here in the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 5 in the KJV, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of Yahweh, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Yahweh Shai Mashiach. This is going to be 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 5 in the NLT. It says, we destroy every proud obstacle that keeps people from knowing Yahweh. We capture their rebellious thoughts and teach them to obey Yahweh Shai Mashiach, Salaki. And again, you can look at examples of that, of being maybe a CEO of a company. If you're in that position, you exalt yourself naturally, because of the wealth, because of the authority that you have over the people who work below you. You all of a sudden, are being a lover of self because of your high position. So you want to come away from that type of mindset. You want to cast down those imaginations. Despite having that position, you want to be humble, before Yahweh Shai Shai. So he's wanting you to come out of that fleshly love for those type of things into a spiritual love that is more grounded in the laws, statute, and commandments of Yahweh Shai. For you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. I want to also get a definition for the word renewed mind, or renewal of the mind, and it says an intentional, ongoing process of changing how you think, shifting from old, negative, or worldly patterns of thought to healthier truth-based perspectives. I want to look at the book of and exactly, you want to have get out of that negative mindset, a worldly mindset, and come into a mindset of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. You want to come in humbly. You want to come in being ready to be receptive to His ways and to His knowledge on life versus how you think and what you perceive the things you should have in life regarding that. I want to also go into the book of Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 22. It's the book of Ephesians chapter 4, verse 22 through 24. It's like in the KJV it says, that ye put off concerning the former conversations the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lusts verse 23 says, and be ye renewed in the spirit of your mind. Verse 24 says, and that ye put on the new man, which is after Yahweh, is created in righteousness and true holiness. It's the book of Ephesians 4:22 in the NLT. It says, throw off your old sinful nature and your former way of life, which is corrupted by lust and deception. Verse 23 says, instead, let the Spirit renew your thoughts and attitudes. Verse 24 in NLT says, put on your new nature, created to be like Yahweh, our power, truly righteous and holy. Exactly. And we want to come away from that old man, from the old lust and corruption, of living in this flesh. This flesh desires and is contrite to the spirit. It wants to sell drugs. It wants to get money. It wants to, maybe sell illegal firearms to get money. It wants to sell, vapes, because that's the new trend now, to get people to again, to help with finances. It says come away from that old man, from being having that type of mindset, and renew it only through Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai that we can do this, not on our own accord, because again our flesh is contrary to our spirit, and so it says to put on a nature that's more familiar unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, not of this world, not of your fleshly desires and lusts. And so with that, I want to conclude this lesson and give all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bah Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Bah Hashem, Rakah Kadash, Shalom.